Let's check on the futures levels for this Wednesday. We will start with the S&P, the E-minis, and this is a 15-minute candle. It's been wild of late, but today was the reddest day that we've had in a while. At least it felt like it. We do have a very simple level to look at, which is right there, and 4776. It looks like they hated it, and they have a couple more chances at it overnight. Let's see here. There's nothing moving pretty wildly in the after-hour session, but we do have a higher low, a strong bounce off a pretty sharp low, and we have a very well-defined line, 4776. And then we have a set of lines above. If I were to pick one out of those, it would be 4780. Add $2 and subtract $1. So let's put a box around it. All right, so how do I trade this mess? Not sure that I can trade from the long side. I don't think there's enough meat to follow it from point A to point B. So this might be a little thin. And trading this breakout, I don't think is going to be powerful enough to take this out, especially given that. So I would be relegated to say, okay, we have selling rallies. Maybe it happens again. So somehow short something. I can short against 4775 or 6 and see if I can get down to 4755 or 56. That's the extent of the action on this one. Very similar comments here. The NASDAQ NQ, you have a very well-defined price where they failed recently, and a bigger failure here and one above that. And so I would still be assuming that whatever's been going on will continue to go on, provided this is a good bounce, but so was this. So this is the easier trade on the assumption. Even if you say higher lows, I might still be able to profit from this. Now, the alternative is, I should have said that on the ES, if I'm patient and this happens, I could play this potential on the long side. So short first, or wait for the dip and get long for the potential inverse head and shoulders up to 16,940. So if we drop into 16,800 or lower, take a long, and that could also work on the ES, the same style of trade. Oh boy, they all look the same. Higher lows into a descending channel, and the small caps, super strong support, super violent loss, super strong push. Now what? Higher lows, yes. I think there are a lot of sellers that are hiding here. I'm not sure this is easy to trade on the long side from here, but a dip into these candles. So 1920, 1917, you could try it along for the swing up, and maybe you get this. So the trade would be from point A to point B, from here to here. The YM looks like it's got a taller mountain to climb. Yes, very sharp, very close trigger, but oh boy, what do I do with this mess? Now be careful, there's a lot of big stocks that are moving big time these days. Something has to change on the Dow. Too many heavy hitters, too many big companies. So pay attention. Like Boeing, for example, it lent a hand on a red day. Boeing was holding up quite well because it recently fell. And you have a good buyer at 37,415, 416, a hard seller at 37,492, and a bunch of sellers above. So if you're going long, it's on hope that tomorrow is going to be a green day and you're going to ride it out. Not for me at this point. And let's go to oil. A pretty nice rally going into a pretty hard fail. I would not be playing it on the long side, but if I am long and I have runners, maybe. If I wanted to play it on the long side, I would wait for a dip into 72. If you're lucky, it gets to 71.7 or 6 to see what they do with it. This also looks like lower highs. I don't know if this is a floorboard or not. It looks like it from here. Okay, so maybe the upside is 73.6. Now take out 73.6, you can get to 74. It's more of a swing trade, and I'm not sure if you have the stomach for it. It might be too much work for the reward. Now I looked at gold earlier, and gold looks like a falling knife, but if you go to a daily chart, you'll see that it's falling into a base in a bullish pattern if you consider the longer term. The breakout is from this one candle right here. Okay, so and it's below here. So having seen that, let's go to a 30-minute chart to see if we can come up with a trade. Short term, it's hideous, but those are the lines we just drew. So somewhere down here, there's a buyer. So do you want to go on faith and buy the dip into a stretch of support? if that's the case, if you're lucky and this happens, then I would do it. And if I were you, I would set an alert and say, alert. I'll know what that is. So maybe I set the alert and go away. I don't want to buy calls into this. That looks pretty bad. All right, so this is it. We'll check with you in a few days and see what happens.